something that consistently forces me to deal with that uncomfortability is being in an interracial marriage.
Yeah.
Being like you pull up at a wedding for my wife's side of the family, and it might be two of us.
Mm-hmm.
It might be two of us, and the other one might be with me. So
How do you navigate that, bro? Like I said, my senior thesis is on biracial students, right?
mhm.
And I feel like I said, like going to the school in the suburbs and coming home, I had a little bit of that push pull from my family and friends. Like, how are you balancing that with your kids and like teaching them that they are not just singular?
So
Although society sees them as you are black, but deep down inside you're not singular. So you need to know a lot of your background, your heritage from your mom, and you need to know the same thing from me, and I like kind of be comfortable in who you are.
I think I'll give you like my background of me with the interracial part, and then talk about the kid part. So like being in the interracial relationship, I'm super stubborn, right? So I am gonna do things how I want to do them. So like I've never been like, oh man, I love white girls. That's never been me. I've never been purely I love black girls. I kind of love everybody. But my wife, I love her. I just love her.
I like
She's the
that.
best woman I know. So her whiteness to me is not, that's not what I love. Now she's a beautiful white woman, but it's not, I don't love her because she's white. I love her because she's awesome. So
Mm-hmm.
that was never the roadblock for me. And then I've always been comfortable with who I am. So I didn't need my parents to sign on. I didn't need her parents. I didn't need society. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and I'll take what comes with that. So being a parent of interracial children, yes, we give them the background on both sides of the family, but we also give them the strength to define for themselves who they are. So guess what? You don't have to be. You do not have to be defined by your color. Now, there might be people that try to box you that way. If you allow that, then that burden is on you. But you can fight that. So Liz and I being in an interracial relationship, we fight that structure. You know what? We just have a great marriage. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Like anybody got a problem with that? That's on you. But so I push my kids to define for yourself what and who you are.
Right.
Like these things don't have to be the defining factors. Yes, society's gonna look at you a certain way, but you can change and dictate how society views you. People do it all the time. We live in a world right now where people are telling you their gender.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to be defined by how I look. Like I could say, of course, I'm proud. I am proud of my blackness. I love being black. It is great, but it's not solely what defines me. I am a
Mm-hmm.
man who is responsible, and I do what I do and serve my community. That defines me before anything. Now you can initially look at me and say, "There goes a black dude," but once you get to know me, you're gonna move past that.
Yeah.
You're gonna move past that. 'Cause I'm gonna make you.
Let me ask you this this kind of segue. I want to hear BNet's opinion too. Um, and we can come back to the biracial and being black,
Yeah,
but how are you guys handling because we like I said, we all come from different backgrounds, but I feel like we all come from humble beginnings
mm-hmm.
where and I don't know if I'm not trying to offend you. Like, I've never heard of you speak of your mom. I just hear you speak of your dad.
Yeah.
And then I know BNet's dad wasn't there. My dad wasn't there. So I feel like we're all blessed to be able to raise our kids with a wife, with a partner.
Yeah.
And my kids are growing up in a home, something that I've never done, something that like I've always wanted to do, and both you guys are.
Now
Like,
I
how are you
grew up.
guys handling that?
I grew up in a two-parent household.
Okay,
My
see, okay,
my parents divorced when I was younger, but then my dad remarried. So my stepmom is, that's in my top three people in
okay,
in the world. Now I love my birth mother dearly. We have a great relationship. But in the time in my life where I needed a mom, my stepmom was that person.
okay,
I mean, you talking about, that's one of the goats. That's one of my Mount Rushmores. So
okay.
I benefited from getting to have both sides. Like that's why I get to exercise so much strength all the time, because I got to be whole. I wasn't left
Mhm.
searching for a part of me, you know. And I talk about my dad all the time just because at my lowest moments, when I'm at my worst, when I don't know how I feel about anything, I can just look back and know, like, at the very least, I'm him.
Yeah.
At the very least, I'm him. So that's just why I talk about him all the time, because
And,
that's my safe place.
and you know what, you guys, and I want you to speak on the two being that, but like when I see my buddies who had a dad there that was like a strong presence, man, like I you know, something that I want, man. That, you know, because like I said, like, and I didn't even know that, you know, your mom or your stepmom was in the picture because of how much of an impact your dad had on your life. You always reference your dad when we talk about things growing up, and that's, you know, that's something that I want. I would want for my kids to be able to, and then let me know that I did a good job, you know,
Yeah,
when they're
yeah,
older. You know,
I can
I
respect
want
that.
that.
I
And
can
of course,
respect
being
that.
that I see, you know, since day one, bro, you like, even though, you know, your timeline wasn't the way you wanted to, man. Like, dude, the way that you have been raising Melanie, bro, like it's dope, bro. And
Yeah,
you know, to be so
I
young
appreciate that.
and not fully into your career the way you wanted to, bro. Like it takes a lot. I mean, shit, it's a lot for me and my wife with these two kids. So I can only imagine how it was for you by
So
yourself.
Yeah,
all our viewers, y'all don't know, Brendan spent some early years of his daughter's life as a single dad, and I mean like a
Yeah,
legit single dad
yeah, bro.
who was relying on the community to help him out, and B did that thing. He did that
Yeah,
thing.
bro.
yeah. You know, I'll be honest with you. I think when I became a father, it was the most scariest day of my life. Like, just the situation, and I don't need to like go into it because here's the thing, people. You know how my daughter sees me talk about her biological mother is important,
Yep.
and because my daughter needs to understand that I respect her mother, regardless of like whatever the history was or whatnot. You know, because at some point she's going to look at herself going, well, I'm part my mom, and if my dad's talking about her this way or he's treating her this way, does that mean he feels about me that way? And I never want that. Like, I never wanted that. And it was hard, like, because I didn't know what I was doing. Like, you know, it's my responsibility. I'm not going to blame anybody, but the community, what's crazy is this: who Nana is to my daughter is Jeff's mom. So when I
So
was
that's my stepmom, Trey. That's
That's
Nana.
dope.
yeah,
That's dope.
so Nana, yeah, so Nana picked the phone up when I was like, I don't know what to do. You know, I had this baby, I had to go to work. She goes, Brendan, bring her here. And I was like, I think I was like eating, eating out. I'll never, you know, those crazy moments you never forget, big moments. And I'm eating out, and she just calls me and she goes, bring her here. And I go, I have to pay you. And literally, Trey, she didn't even want to take my money. She just said, all right, like $50 a month.
Wow.
We talking
And I'm
about the
talking
GOAT,
hours
Trey.
on end.
Man.
Hey,
Trey, we talking
hours
about
on
the
end.
GOAT, Trey.
You should have seen my daughter's hair. I used to lie and tell people I did her hair. And if you don't know Jeff's mom and his sister, like they would do, and shout out to your sister because she has her own hair salon going down there. Good for her, or
Hey,
product like
That's dope.
Jador Beauty and Supply,
yeah.
Colorado Springs. Show her
My
some
daughter
love.
used to go to school with like crazy things, so it wasn't just me. Like a village raises a child, but it was hard. Like at the end of the day, like I made a decision, you know, and you know, that's all I can really say about it. And it's probably bettered me as a man, but it's also done this, Trey. When raising kids has also made it really hard for me to understand my father's decision.
Bro.
Like, there, I don't know if there's a conversation where he could come in and go, "Let me explain." Because as crazy it is, my mom had 3 kids with, you know, different dads, and I was like always like blaming mom for all my issues and, you know, whatnot. And then as I became a parent, the respect that I had from my parent to raise 3 kids on her own, let alone me doing one, bro, like
Hey,
there's no
y'all.
way he could call me and go, yo, I'm like, whoa, there's too many people that put into me and my child, and like it would just not, it wouldn't make sense to me.
Wait, tell me this though, because I have this reoccurring like idea that come to me where I think like again like a reality show that's like Cheaters, but we
Yeah.
sneak up on
Fathers.
like deadbeat no show dads. But we
Hey,
don't
didn't
just hit them.
catch that, bro.
But Trey, I don't know if the show is gonna work because I don't want to just be like, why weren't you there? I want to sneak up on him with like 3 dudes and jump him. I want to just
So,
beat him. I want to just
the
beat him
only
and run.
problem is a good portion of those dads were out in these streets. So we're going to take a whole crew.
Oh, but no, we
Yeah.
take it. Look, all you need is 3, and it's gonna be a sneak up. We're gonna be like, look,
right.
John is known to work right here at this Taco Bell. We look. As soon as he come out, somebody just gonna yell, John,
Right.
and then we gonna jump him. Then we gonna jump him.
And you know, and what you just said, B-Net, like I couldn't imagine not being away from my daughters, bro. Like, you know, and you know, we talk about like cheating and messing up your family. Like, I would have to go to counseling if I did something to mess up my marriage and to like hurt my wife like that. But also to the fact that where my girls can jump in the bed and like they're like wives and daddy there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, bro.
Yeah, you know what though, Trey? Like, I don't know how you are, but to navigate being a male and a father without that thing, it's crazy, right? And it's a blessing. And here's the thing: it doesn't make you hard if you didn't have a dad. Like all these people, thinking that what makes you hard on paper. And I came.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a deficit that I had to overcome, and I'm still struggling with on it. But I know this: as long as I'm loving my kids, and as long as I'm showing them how to be a parent and love their mother, I'm breaking that mold. I'm breaking that
you gotta break those cycles, man. It's something I take personal in my family, like with my children. If there's something negative that was sticking around for cycles, man, it's stopping at me. It's stopping at me. My kids not gonna fight my same battles. I'm prepping them to fight something new so we continue to progress. Like my legacy should be the growth of my children and their children. That should be my legacy. They shouldn't finish this race the same place we're in right now.
Yeah, because it's crazy because I always feel like this, like, and I'll get back to this. What I want to talk kind of a little bit and shift a little bit is, I remember this conversation. I was in Jeff's house as a young kid, and I remember this conversation with him. I'm getting to race, and this is going to get a little crazy. And Jeff is in the back room with his dad, Big Jeff. And I'll never forget this. And I didn't understand because I came from the same place as they did. So I was, as a mentality, I was like, hey, I'm in the same boat as you are, right? And what are you complaining for? Like, I'm in the same boat. I used to think that way. But Jeff's dad and him were talking back there, and he goes, Jeff's like upset. He's like, Dad, but Brendan's not like that. And I didn't catch the whole thing. And Jeff Gagg looks at him and goes, hey, man, Brendan's not. There's an exception or something. He said something. He's like, that's not Brendan, though. He wasn't raised that way. I think he was trying to explain to Jeff about race and like how there's racial issues still, and there's still this racism out in the world.
He always had the rule that you can't trust them all. Now, my dad was always like, you take them initially at face value.
Yeah.
But you're constantly examining them to see. He's like, and they'll show you their true colors when moments of pressure come up. And so, like, he always look at B and be like, oh, you've been through the wars with B. You know what B is. He's like, but you're gonna encounter white people throughout your life that aren't like that. That's holding it inside. Like I was saying about Trump. Like, I love that Trump is the president because these people stop holding it in.
Yeah,
bro.
And we're about to get in that, Trey.
So from you saying that too, and then like you said, like your father knew B is more than his family. And with the Trump situation, bro, like there were a lot of guys that I looked at as more than friends. Some I consider family, but some is like I've been through stuff with. And kind of hear, and not the fact that they even voted for him and supported him, because a lot of people are so bipartisan. Yeah, that they just it's their political party regardless. And I know that, but it's like to hear and to see some of the things that these people have been putting out. It's like, bro, like I left my comfortability to go fight for you at certain situations against these other people. I've stood up for you. We split $3. Like, and this is how you feel about situations when it comes to my people. It's like, so what?
And I think that's why I bring it up.
Yeah, so like this whole time when I thought we were, building and becoming like a for real brotherhood, it was just for the moment. Or it was just because it was convenient for you at the time because we at that point we needed each other to reach a
See
common goal.
that I think that's a thing that some of the people like in our circles who have let us down in that way that they don't understand about supremacist ideology. So they don't understand that in their mind they're operating on a level where they're superior to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be this tight, but in their mind they're superior. So when something comes along that creates that conflict, they re-elevate themselves above you, and they don't see it though. They don't
Yeah.
see that that's how their mind is processing things. They just see that, oh, like we disagree, but it's more than a disagreement because you're putting down a whole people.
Yeah, bro. And
And what you think is above a whole people, and it can't be. We can agree to disagree. It's you're wrong, and you're wrong because I said so.
mm-hmm. It's funny that you said like it's like it's like the conforming thing, and you kind of see like they felt like some people feel like they are superior, and I see that in like out here in California. Like I don't know if you guys saw it on your news how Orange County, how they were reacting to this whole stay at home, wear your mask situation. Orange County is Trump country in Southern California.
Okay.
And they were rioting, they were fighting, they were showing up to counter protesters, like ready about that action, and they were not wearing their mask. And now, and it's funny because they were the ones that started the spikes in California. They were getting hit hard with testing positive, and then I look at like the difference in like Orange County and California. I mean, in Los Angeles, inner city of Los Angeles. Majority of inner city is like inner city of Los Angeles, blacks, Hispanics, and lower middle class white people. And the lower class and black people, we've always had to conform. We've always had to comply. Everything that happened, we have to comply. We're the first ones to comply, or it could be a problem. The people in Orange County never had to comply. They had the money. This is the first time that they were forced to comply, and it was a problem. It's still a problem. They are not wearing their masks.
Well,
they are not social distancing.
So this is really what the issue is for us in America. It's always defined by color, but it's really classes.
Yep.
And the classes are separated by color because of the traditions of the country. So you're gonna have the lower classes populated by people of color because we took forever to get the rights to be able to ascend. So these upper classes are always white. But like you said, with COVID now, they're being told like, nah, bro, you don't got the rights you think you got. Yep. So they're wilding out. Yeah, they're wilding out, bro.
It's like it's like with this COVID thing, we are all equal.
Yeah,
we are all equal when it comes to something like this. And bro, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
like, you should see.
You know what's crazy too is and I think white people out there need to hear this, white America, and just coming from me. And right now I'm the minority in this conversation, but they need to hear this from me. I too did not know, and I used to struggle with some of the arguments of, oh, I'm getting oppressed, or I'm getting, because I'm like, hey, and it's because of my experience of how I grew up. I felt like I was in the same boat on paper. If you look at me, no dad, single mom, different daddies, I was on food stamps. I was selling food stamps. Like, people don't realize I was heating a house with a damn oven. Like, I had tricks. People ask me all the time. They go, "Brendan, how poor were you?" Well, I was so poor that we used to sit there and sell food stamps, or go to the dollar store, or excuse me, the corner store, and get 75 cents back to break it. Like, my grandmother was a straight hustler when it came to that, right? And she knew how to survive. So there's an intelligence there, and I'm not dumbing them down, because there's intelligence about living like that, right? And so you learn those things. You learn, gangs. I mean, I've been held up. I was selling candy, and I got held up selling candy, man. You know what I mean? Like, I was going door to door doing whatever. And so for me, I was a little bit angry of hearing that, like, oh, you're complaining about the shit I'm going through too. But then it hit me. So white America, hear me here. You can be a chameleon in your skin. I went to McPherson and people would look at me a little different. Like I wasn't really fitting in with the white kids because they're like, he has Tim's on and, he has some Sean John on. And then I would fit in with, the people I was comfortable with because I was raised around them. And so I was like in this weird place trying to find out who, like, wait a minute, like what? But what I'm saying is you can be a chameleon because no matter what, when you go to a store or a Walmart, they're not following you around. They're not asking the soccer player next to you if he scored a touchdown and Dino is a soccer player. They're thinking he's a football player, and they're not making these assumptions. Like they're not doing that to you. Like for me, like they can make an assumption like, well, you're not a basketball player because you're short. Like that's great. But you know what they thought? And I'm going to lose a lot of friends in this. I had two parents. I must have came from, well-stocked. They were never questioned. They didn't see that. And I could tell. Right. And so I'm still learning too. It's okay to learn. I'm still learning what I can and cannot say. I'm still learning that, and I'm going to break it to you honest. I'm still learning that how you use, and you should never do this, and I've never done it, but even in any dialogue, the N word, you should never use reading it, whatever it is, telling a story about it. Like if I'd ever learned the hard way, people have checked me. But those are people that cared about me walking around too, not getting checked. Right. And so I think the big thing too is when you're voting for Trump, a lot of times, are you listening to the people around you and your friends? Is that really the best thing? And here's the thing, people, I don't care who you are. For me, character matters. How you act and what you're not really, you're kind of like wishy-washy with it. And if I had a following of white supremacists making a march right now, I would not be proud of that.
Right.
Like I couldn't put my name on that. There would be a solid no, and I don't have to be that guy that goes, well, I got 5 black friends, the whole joke. Guys, typically, most of my friends that I grew up with were my friends, and I don't care who you are. I don't see color. Bullshit. Like you see color. People see color. I see color. You know what I mean? And I think those are the things that I get angry about because I had a awakening. They say you're a woke person. Great, whatever. At the end of the day,
that boy,
I can't put my name on. I can't put my name on something that's hurting my friends that bad.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead, Trey. Sorry.
No, I said that part, which I've had conversation with a couple buddies. Like, bro, like I'm telling you, like this is how I feel, bro. Because in different situations, if we're out in the streets or we're back in school or wherever, and I tell you, like, hey, that dude over here, I don't fuck with. Back in the day, you would have been like, okay, I guess we don't fuck with him. You know what I mean? If I'm about to fight that dude over there, you fighting that dude over there with me. Yeah. And I don't understand how this is any different, bro.
Well, see, my thing about this is I can take, like, if Brendan told me, yo, Jay, I ride with Trump, I could take if B told me that as long as B didn't fight me when I said I don't. Right. To me, that's the problem. Is like I'm like, yo, man, I'm not messing with Trump. And then if Brendan were to tell me, Jay, you're wrong for that, like, nah, man, we can view something differently. Yeah, we can view it differently and still be who we are to each other. That doesn't have to cease to exist. It's when these people, like the person I think you're referencing, makes it to where it's like, oh no, now I oppose you. I oppose everything you ever stand for. And it's just like, over this dude? Mm-hmm. Over this dude? You don't even know this dude. Like you going off his politics and you losing real people, real friends over this dude? About this. But why is it like so easy to be like a deadbeat dad in this society? Like it's legitimate. It's harder for somebody to speak negatively about a transgender in our society than it is for them to just not take care of the children and handle their responsibility. Like you can call somebody by the wrong pronoun.
I look at that as like when you like, especially like in the I ain't gonna say in the black church, but in the Christian church, man, how they look at like homosexuality. Yeah, and I think we need to treat. Well, I think the church needs to treat how they feel about homosexuality with it being a sin, like every other sin. Because it's like don't ostracize the people who identify with homosexuality in the congregation, but allow the deacon who everyone knows is cheating on his wife to be in here, or Mr. Johnson in the back who we've known has been inappropriate with the kids. Like, no sin should be greater than sin. So like when it comes to like deadbeat fathers, like it needs to be talked about like as if they like how people look at thieves. Like, oh, bro, hide the ladies.
I mean,
Please don't
yes,
get them
like
pregnant and leave.
I think it should come up on your background check. You don't take care of your kids.
Yeah.
Like I think it should be plastered everywhere. Like when you don't take care of your kids, I don't think that it should be something that's just like so easily pushed to the side. Like dudes shouldn't just get to have all this peace when they leave kids in this world that don't.
Because like when we hire people, you look at their credit, you look at everything. So it's like, bro, that will let me know. Like, do I want somebody whose kid lives down the street from him and he does not see to be on my team?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, that's character, man.
That lets me know what type
that's
of
character.
Yeah.
That's character.
Yeah, man.
And I think character is big in any corporation. I mean, we talked about, you just said this, Trey, when you're hiring people, when you're training people, like their character matters. We just talked about that with the president too. Yeah. Like, I got a question, and this is just me. The black vote with Biden. How we just held Trump accountable, right? We just said, hey, we're gonna hold him.
I don't agree with it.
Right? Do we need to hold Biden just as accountable? Right? Like we can't just like go, hey, look. Absolutely. And even me, like I look at it like, hey, I voted for this guy, right? I need to hold you accountable. You just said you're gonna do so many things. Every president should be held accountable, right?
I think people who voted for Biden need to hold Biden accountable the same way people who voted for Trump held Trump accountable. People who held for Trump was riding with him the whole process, but Trump kept on serving those people because they was always showing up at them rallies. They was like, hey, Trump, do what you said.
Yeah.
And so I think we need monumental pressure on Biden. My only fear is that the pressure gonna kill him because he don't look like he got too much longer left.
Yeah. But
I'm gonna get that boy. I'm gonna get that boy 5 full moons.
Where you were getting to?
I'm sorry. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Hey, you better not get no clips in there.
I'm just playing.
But from what I feel like where you were getting that, I think like especially like the black vote, or not even the black vote, the lower class vote. They need to hold their votes until they feel like it's being met. I don't think that we should, like, people should not vote if they do not find they don't have a candidate that they feel like they can stand behind. Because not voting is putting the person that you don't want in there to get. Yeah. But I do feel like, especially like minorities, blacks, Hispanics, they need to let the Democratic Party know that they just do not automatically get their vote.
Well, this is the problem.
Like, our vote isn't going to you.
But this is the problem with not voting. So these parties elevate candidates that appeal to the voters that they get. So when you don't vote, they're not trying to appeal to you. So periodically, we get a massive black vote. Like, all right, there's a collection of blacks that are always going to vote, but periodically we get a mass of black voters that come out and vote. So if we want to get candidates that will better represent the issues that we want served, then we have to consistently vote. We can't just periodically vote. And that's the part that people don't understand, but that's the part that we're not taught. That's where the education system fails us, is it doesn't teach us these things. So then when the opportunities come up to create some change, they've hurt us. Or they do things like gerrymandering. Like, there's all these efforts that go on. There's all these efforts that go on that keep black people from really unifying. And we need to be educated on what they are so then we can combat them better. That's like really what's going on, is everything that's working against us, we're not all aware of.
Yeah. And so then you have to think about, like, that has to start with our kids. And probably it'll take our great grandkids to really start to scratch the surface on that, because we have to continue to, like, instill in a different mindset to our
Hey man, I won't even say it'll take that long.
Kids,
My
like my
uncle,
daughters.
my uncle,
And
my uncle was part of the first integrated class in his town in Mississippi.
that's crazy, bro.
My grandmother's son.
That's crazy.
So that's not that far from us, bro. That's in the 60s.
Crazy.
That's in the 60s.
Yeah,
That's in
bro.
the 60s, man. That's not that long ago. So I don't think it's gonna take that long. It's just gonna take that action. But who the
Right.
burden falls on is those of us that become educated, that become in the know, that become affluent.
Yeah.
We have to not become self-centered. We have to not just say, "Shoot, I made it, man. I'm about to focus
Mm-hmm.
on mine and I'm about to climb up." It's nah. We didn't got up. Now we got to reach back down, bro. We got to take some people with us. We got no. I'm coming back for you. I ain't leaving you.
So the neighborhood that I live in now, bro, it's the neighborhood that I've always wanted to live in, and it's considered the Black Beverly Hills. It's Baldwin Hills, and you can see like up here there's a lot of old money. There's a good portion of new money, and there's some that's got up here and just kind of forgot what it took for them to get here. And from what you're saying, like, bro, we need to help each other out. And like we went to like they had like a jazz festival here in the neighborhood, and I just sat back and I was just watching, man. And you can see like the elite Black people up in here because there's a lot of old. It's like up here is this is the first nice neighborhood that they allowed Black people to start moving into, but it wasn't until like Ray Charles and Tina Turner moved here. And then they started allowing like Black professionals to move here. And then that's when all the white people moved to the other hill, and it just became like our, our creme de la creme here. So you have people who, when you, like I was saying, themselves. Then you see like people who, have got was born and raised up here, just good jobs, good family, good stock, but they're more well around. Yeah, the people that live by me, like, man, I don't know how we got up here. We just snuck up here, and I like to talk to a lot of older cats, and it's crazy. Like they don't like to give the game, and they have that mentality. Like, I got here, you'll figure it out. And like, nah, bro, like you got here, let me know which left to turn, which right to turn, and where I need to lay low for a minute. Like give the game because we're gonna continue to make the same mistakes.
Yeah. That's really honestly, that's the real reason that I coach and teach is being in those settings. I just give out game. As I learn, I just give it away. Like you can't hold it in those
Right.
settings, right? So like
Right.
it's too hard. So being in those settings, as I learn it, I'm just pouring it right back out. Like, dude, my barber is a former player. Like if anything I can get done by people who I know in the community, I'm about to do it with. That's what I'm about to interact with. Like I'm gonna force myself to give it out as I learn it, and I'm constantly seeking more. Like I'm trying to get to like that true affluence, right? I want to get to it, but I don't want to get to it for myself. I want to get to it so I can understand the path, so I can say, "Hey, I found the way." Like, and so I can tell people the way. I'm not even trying to do it so I could have things. I'm doing it so I can say, "Hey, this is the path." Like Trey, I bought my first house a few years back, right? We built a house this year. This year, I got my parents to buy their first house, and my little brother, I got him to buy his first house.
That's dope, bro.
We're changing the culture, like in our family. Like we're establishing a standard that like the kids are gonna build on. But at the same time, the stuff I've learned, I'm taking it and giving it out to anybody that want it, bro. Anybody that need it. Hey, you want to know about these first time buyer programs? I put together PowerPoints. I'm sending out PowerPoints over email. Like, hey, however we can figure this out, let's do it. Let's find that success together. And so, like, we have to model really what we want to see. And if we don't have anybody to teach us the way, then we just got to take it on our shoulders to be the one that we got to learn the hard way. Then I'm gonna have to chop down the trees. I'm gonna have to build the road.
Yep, I agree with that, bro. I agree, and it's like I look at a lot of my buddies too, man. Like you guys included. Like I hope you guys kind of like, they say like stop and smell the roses. Like bro, like, man, we have all been like extremely blessed. You know,
Yes.
yeah, our kids are healthy. We have amazing partners. We have an amazing like core community of friends that will hold us accountable and let us know when we fucking up and pat us on the back when we're doing good and big us up with information when we need it, man. Like, you know, this is the, you know, I feel like I'm living my dream to an extent of what I've always wanted, when I became a man.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy because, we work, especially guys like us, we work so much and we go in, we go hard, we kind of don't think about ourselves because we trying to do for everybody else. But man, we need to really take a step back and like breathe and like, man,
Hey,
like we're blessed.
hey, bro, I learned in 2019, 2018, all the mental health stuff is real, right? I remember I came out of a super busy work season, a crazy basketball season, and I was just almost broken. So I made my family, we went up in the mountains to a cabin for a few days, right? So I learned my lesson then about taking care of myself. So when I feel it, I shut down. Shut all this
Yeah,
down. I'm taking a couple of days, right? And then this past year, I learned like I gotta indulge a little bit, man. Life is short.
yeah,
So I can't just like everything can't just be saved. Everything can't be I'm gonna have fun later. So you know what I finally did that I never had done in my life? I started buying these sneakers, bro. I remember cats growing up always buying sneakers, right? Now probably buying, give me a couple pair a month just just to like be like, this is my indulgence, man. This is
yep.
like my little thing I'm gonna give myself.
We
So I
need a
like I
vice.
yeah, I support people um partaking in a little bit of the fruit. Like
Yeah,
you ain't got to go crazy,
yeah,
but like indulge a little bit, man, because life is short. You don't know.
yeah,
You don't know, and you don't want to spend all your time prepping for tomorrow because tomorrow's not that great if you haven't invested in it. If you haven't,
yeah, bro.
if you don't have a
My
story.
wife has been slowly like over the last couple of years, especially like this last year for sure, like really getting on me to like, you can go and get that, or we can do this, or we can get the nicer one. Because I'm so, my whole focus is like, nah, let's get this to put this away. But this is what you just said, like, bro, like indulge in some stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and
B, what
invest
you
in
Yeah,
got?
yourself.
B, what you got for the people before we wrap this thing up?
man. It's just so cool to just Trey, thanks for being on here and
Appreciate it, man.
blessing us with your presence and Jeff always good. And I'll be honest with y'all, I just like listening to two successful black men talk about just what we talked about because I think it's important for me to listen to that and hear that. I mean, I know as close as we are, I was just a fan today. I'll be honest with y'all. So, if anything, just shout out to you all and what you've done and what you've built, given that circumstance. So,
Right. I think what you have always done, B, and I think that's where the conversation starts is like people like you who are white and who do have real genuine friendships with men of color, you have conversations with other white people to let them know. And I think we're gonna need a million more people like you to have those conversations behind closed doors when real game can be dropped and real information can be given to where it can make people feel comfortable and give and I guess like less ignorant to a black person's plight, but just black people in general. Like we all want the
mhm,
same piece of the pie. I don't want to take more than what you have. I just want to get enough for me. You know.
mhm. Yeah, I appreciate it,
Well, Trey, brother,
Jeff.
it has been a blessing, man, to have you on. Yeah, we know we're gonna have you back, so I'm not even gonna invite you. You just know you're always welcome, man. But it's been great to see you and chat with you. B, I love you, bro. You my brother. Everybody, thanks for joining us
Yeah.
for Stuck in Neutral. Now we out this thing.
All right, brother.